Hi everyone, welcome to stampwithcandy.com. My name's Candy Soriano and I'm so excited to be here today to show you a sample from the new catalog that just went live on May 3rd. Today I'm going to show you, and let me switch that, a sample using this stamp set, Brewed for You. I love this stamp set for a lot of reasons. One, because I know a lot of craft beer drinkers, and this image is great for that, as are these two images. I know a lot of wine drinkers, so these two images are really good. And this can become a jug of lemonade. Or if you're Italian and your grandpa made wine in the basement, yeah, this would be a perfect card for him on his birthday. It comes as a bundle with these dies that cut out the images in the stamp set. And one of the things I like most is this little guy, because it makes it look like there's foam on top of your beer. So anyway, it's in the new catalog, which is the May 20 to 22 to April 2023 annual catalog. And I have some pages marked so I can show you the set in the catalog. So this is on page 83. You can see they've decorated a beer bottle, and there they've stamped things multiple times before and made that a background. You can see we have the little bubbles so that we can have effervescent. We have the foam so we can have different kinds of foam. I love the sentiments, another round for your birthday. Oh, ale, yes, I like that one a lot. And in addition to that, this set, I wanted to use some DSP on the card. And so I used the DSP called He's the Man. And this is fabulous for masculine cards. What I like about it is, first of all, it comes with two sheets of stickers. So two of each sticker, which I really, really like. I think that's fun. But it also has some great patterns in it. And so I'm using these two patterns today. Well, actually, I'm using this one, and you'll see that in a minute. And then I wanted to point out the embellishments I'm using. So I'm going to flip over to those. And if you'll notice, I have my catalog spiral bound because it lets it lay flat, and I go through it so much. So I'm using these new embellishments called Rustic Metallic Adhesive Black Back Dots. And I love these. You'll see I'm almost out of the first package I got. So these are really great embellishments for making masculine cards. So let's take a look at the card we're making today. So there's a couple things I like about this card, other than, I love the patterns. Decorated envelope, easy to stamp, but it's also a fun fold. And I got the idea for the fun fold from Mary Fish, who blogs at stampingpretty.com. And hers was tulips, not at all masculine, but this one I think is a great masculine card. And although it looks a little complicated, it's really, really, really simple to make. So let me show you how that works. So what you do to start with is you take a piece of very vanilla cardstock, thick, and I have the measurements on here, and you cut it in half so that it's 4 1/4 by 11, right? And those are measurements we're all used to cutting because, there's two ways to cut the cardstock, but you cut it in half to make a card base. So here we cut off 4 1/4 by 1 3/4. And here we have it cut at 9 1/4. So when you cut this piece at 9 1/4, you get this little bit left, and that becomes the flap on the fun fold. So you're actually not using more paper than you normally would with a card. You're just cutting it in an interesting way to make sure that, to make this cool fun fold. So here you have to score it at 1 7/8 and 7 3/8. And those give you your score lines. So I'm going to do that right now while you watch. Get this off and this off. And I'm just going to fold it on the lines. And if I had my bone folder out, I would crease it with my bone folder. So let me just get one real quick. Okay. So when you crease it, you get really nice, crisp folds, and it tends to lay flatter if you do it hard enough. So now you can see the bones of our card, right? You can see right here that we have that folded, we have this folded, and now all we have to do is decorate it. So let's start with the inside, okay? And so on the inside, I have a piece of DSP that is cut at 4 by 5 1/4, which is just our standard. So actually, this is just your standard size card now at this point, right? And by the way, you could have done it like this, but I'm going this way. So we're going to put this in here like this, and then on, which is just your standard size, 4 by 5 1/4. And then we're going to put in this little bit, which is 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. And the reason I made that so small, a little bit smaller, is I kind of wanted the DSP to show through. Now it really doesn't. So if you didn't want to use the DSP because it's really not adding much, you could do this with early espresso, which you're going to see when I do the rest. So let me get that done real quickly, because this is the one part I have to assemble to show you this part. So anyway, I'm just going to put it on with a little bit of Stamp and Seal. Now, I want to warn you, it's going to be crooked because I have an eye problem that doesn't let me see well. I don't see well. I don't have any depth perception. And so it takes me a really long time to get it right, and you probably don't want to watch me do that. So I'm not going to really try and get it right. I'm just going to try and, do the best I can, but that's hard. It's hard for me when it takes me a while for my eye to move enough so that I can see it. Anyway, here we go. That's probably TMI, but I've got it on there. It looks pretty good to me. And then I'm going to just, again, center this the best I can. Because the tricky part is you got to fit the sentiment right there, right? And so basically we're going to get this sentiment. We're going to ink up our, ink it up with soft suede. That's the ink we're using. And what I did is and I've got ink on this already, but that'll get covered, is I just went like this. And then there we go. And I could have been up a little bit more, but if I were doing this for real, I would have measured better. Okay, so the next step is we just have to decorate these pieces, right? And again, decorating those is just standard. So I have 2 early espresso layers that go here and here. And then on top of them, I have 2 DSP layers that go here and here. And by the way, on Friday morning, all of these measurements and instructions will be on my blog. You can download a PDF that will show you how to do them. So here we go. I'm just going to put these on really quickly. Again, they're probably crooked because I'm not really letting my eye adjust enough to make them straight. So, but we're just adding a little bit of Stamp and Seal, centering this here, putting it on here. Like that. And then the next piece is this piece. And for that, I've cut a piece that's 4 by 1 1/2. And again, we're just going to put this on. So when I first saw this, I thought this would be a hard card to make. But once you get the sentiment correctly, and I think we're having cars on this one today because I put the glue on the wrong side, the adhesive on the wrong side. And now all I'm going to do is attach this with some dimensionals, just like that. And then the last step, of course, is to decorate it. And that's actually fairly simple. So what we're going to do is we're going to stamp the beer mug using Memento Black, Tuxedo Black ink. And when I'm using photopolymer stamps, I like to use a Stampin' Pierce mat because I get a better image because there's some give it to it. And the other thing I like to do is count and keep it on there for about 5 seconds to give that ink time to transfer, and I get my image. And then the next step is to stamp the soft suede to represent the beer. Now on this one, there's a little tip here that you need to see. If you're putting foam on, then you can put these rounded pieces. I don't know if you can see that. Let me see if I can get that up there so you can see it. The rounded pieces on this stamp towards the bottom so that they go into the bottom of the mug right here. And when I stamped this the first time, again, this isn't going to line up well because of my eye. I didn't think that was dark enough. So I guess it depends on what you're drinking. If you're drinking ale, it's probably too dark. But if you're drinking Guinness, it's probably not dark enough. So I double stamped it. And of course, you're going to stamp it and line it up. All right, so now it's stamped. And now we cut it out. And voila, with the die. And now I have the foam that I'm going to put on, which looks like this. Now I took one look at that and I said, yeah, that looks great, except that this is too plain, I guess is the word for it. So what I did then is I took my blending brush and I get a little bit of ink on it and I rub most of it off and then I go like this on it. And it's very subtle. And I think you'll be able to see that. It's very subtle, but there is a difference if you look at these two pieces. Let's see if I can get them so that you can see them, right? This one has more texture, more depth. So that's a tip for you. You want to make sure that you get, you have to do something to this or it just looks like flat paper. Then the other thing I always do when I don't want something to look like flat paper is I play with my bone folder and I just start breaking some paper fibers and, just doing a little bit of this. And what that does is it breaks it up. So when I glue it on here, it doesn't look like flat paper, okay? And so then I take my liquid glue and I glue it on. I just put a little bit on here. I just want it right there at the top. And then I glue it on, just like that, okay? And then I'm going to attach it to the card front using dimensionals. And I don't need a lot of dimensionals. Probably this is even overkill. Take those off. And then I'm just going to put it here. Now, we all know I put that on upside down and that this is crooked, right? So let me see if I can fix the crooked part a little bit. Not really. Okay, so now that part's done. So then the last step for me was it still feels like it needs something, right? So then I'm going to put my rustic metallic gems on it, which, here they are. So as you can see, I really like these rustic metallic gems. They're pretty much gone. So for putting on gems, these adhesive back gems, my favorite thing to use is take your pick tool, okay? This putty end grabs them and puts them on beautifully. So for the card that I made, my sample card, I did 2 sizes because first I put them here, but then this wanted some, it looked not balanced. So then I put some over here. And then I tried putting them like here, here, and here, but then that didn't look right because they were copying each other, and that's not really the look I wanted. So I used 6 of them. And see how that picks that up so nicely. Now the only thing about this sometimes is that the putty gets dry. You have to cut it off, and then you have to add, or you have to get a new tip because eventually it runs out of putty, which is what it's doing right now. I should have probably checked that before we started. Live and learn. Okay, and then you just put them wherever they look good to you, and then you would do the same thing on the bottom here. So I hope you liked this card, but I wanted to also take the opportunity to show you a couple of other ways I use this. So we have a lot of other samples to show. So this one is already posted on my blog, but it's a slimline card, and slimline cards fit into a standard business envelope. However, I used one of the Stampin' Up envelopes. So Stampin' Up has these slimline envelopes in the catalog. And the gray wasn't quite the right color palette, but there was also green and white, and I didn't like white because white just wasn't good with the vanilla. So I decided to really splurge and matte this with early espresso and then put a big piece of DSP on here because this is going to go to my son-in-law for his birthday. And so I didn't mind, making it a little bit extra fancy. If I hadn't used the Stampin' Up ones, I would have had a white one and I would have decorated it somehow, as I did for the card we just made where I stamped the beer mug on the envelope. I'm a big believer in no naked envelopes. You always should do something with it. If I were really getting fancy, I would have decorated the flap too with the DSP. Okay, so on this one, it's the same idea, except this time I used the glasses of beer instead of the mug of beer. And then it just says another round for your birthday. I used that same DSP pattern, and I also matted the sentiment with the DSP that I used here. And again, soft suede. And this one was definitely double stamped because at that point the soft suede didn't look good at all. So that's my second sample. And then I thought, well, I'm a wine drinker. So let's look at, can I make some wine cards with this? And so I did. So I used the wine glass, and this is Pretty Prince. It's another new DSP. And the color palette is Crumb Cake and Soft Succulent. And so this print, the Blackberry Bliss, became the wine, which is good because I'm a red wine drinker. And I cut this this strip and I embossed it with the Time Worn Type embossing folder because again it looked not good when it was just plain. And it's little things like that that add so much to the card that you don't even think about them when you're looking at it, but you know that there's something that you like. And then I did stamp the sentiment using Blackberry Bliss on Soft Succulent and use the pick-a-punch punch to create the edges on the sentiment. And then this is a thank you note. So, right, I owe you one or several, and then thank you. And then again, this time I didn't actually stamp this. I did this one 3 times, and I put one on the inside and one on the outside, on the envelope. Now you're going to ask, well, why did I do that? Well, because I wasn't sure how I was going to put this card together. So I stamped 3 because I was thinking 3 across would be cute. But you can't do 3 across because it's too big. You would just have the wine glasses floating there. You couldn't anchor them with the circle. So that's another sample that I did. And then I made this cute little box, and you're going to say, what's that got to do with drinking beer? Well, the box itself has nothing to do with drinking beer, but this has everything to do with drinking wine. So I made this set of 3x3 cards, and I used the wine glasses clinking to sort of emphasize what I'm saying. So, you know, I'm sending many thanks for all you do, and then a little envelope. And that one is in Pool Party. And then I did this one, Friends, and this one is in Mango Melody. And as you can see, I embossed the wine glasses using the Pretty Flowers embossing folder. Because again, when I wasn't crazy about the way they looked. And you'll see that in a minute because there's a couple that I didn't. And here's another one that says Best Wishes. I think that first one was Mint Macaron, and this is, or maybe it's the other way around. One of them's Pool Party, one of them's Mint Macaron. This one is Melon Mambo. And you can see I did nothing to those wine glasses, and to me they're kind of boring. Now you notice I didn't stamp these. They would have had more interest to them if I had stamped them. I just cut them out. And then I have one with fresh freesia that says Happy Birthday. So I hope you enjoyed my samples today and that you really enjoy our new catalog. It's a fabulous catalog. When you look at it, you're going to go, oh my gosh, I want everything. A couple other things of note in the catalog is that there are, don't just look at the bundles, look at the dies, because there are 16 dies that don't come with a stamp set that do all kinds of fun things in terms of frames or images, die cut images that you can use on your card. And then really check out this He's the Man DSP, because if you have to make any masculine cards, this is a fabulous DSP for that. And those stickers are pretty cute. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and check me out at stampwithcandy.com. Bye.